We are going to begin our inventor portion of the block puzzle project. It's a new project, and do you remember what we need to do when we start a new project? That's right. I think you got it right. We need to make a new project folder. So we're going to come up here to projects, and we are going to come down to new. This is how we make a new project. You can see the old project name. If you didn't do this, all of your block puzzle project files would be in the name folder. That's not good. So we're going to make a new file, new project folder. We want a single user project. We will never be using the Volt project. We'll always be using single user project. And here's where we're going to type in the name. And the name for our project is going to be block. So type in block. You'll notice that the path is automatically selected. It should be in My Documents. It should be under Inventor, and it should say block. And we'll say finish. Should we create it? Yes, we should. All right, and now you'll notice that the program automatically put the check mark, which shows the active project, near block. So that is the active project. That's what we want. We'll say done. Okay, now we know from the name project that in order to make a part, we have to do a standard IPT. So we're going to come over here to new, and we are going to make a standard IPT. Remember, we're working in inches, so that standard IPT is by default in inches. We'll look at how to do metric problems later on in the year. So we're creating our new file. Let's go. Here's our two-dimensional sketch plane coming up. Now, we think about the block puzzle. When you think about what it is, it's 27 blocks, individual blocks that are all the same. Now, we did a statistical analysis of those. We know they're not identical. We know that there is some variation in the size. But for the most part, they are identical blocks. And for the design purposes, we know that they are 3/4 of an inch cube. So the process to make this block puzzle, excuse me, using Inventor, is going to be that we make one block. We make one single block. And then we're going to make assembly files of all the block pieces, the block puzzle pieces. We'll make separate assembly files for each piece, and then we'll make an assembly file that brings in the pieces to form the block. I hope that makes sense to you. So to start with, we need to have a block. Now, the block is 3/4 of an inch. Now, you have not learned how to do dimensions, and that's what we're going to do right now. What is the block shaped like? Well, it's shaped like a square. So we're going to come over here to rectangle, and we're going to draw. We're going to click on the screen, and we're going to drag it out. Now, you'll notice that as I draw the rectangle, that there are dimensions that show the width and the length. We do not need to get exactly, you don't have to play with this and try to get it to be exactly 0.75 and exactly, it doesn't work that way. You just want to get close. You do want to have your part be close to the right size, but not exact. So 0.74, 0.8, that's close. We'll click it. There's our rectangle. Now, in engineering, the dimensions or the parts that we make need to be dimensioned exactly. So right over here, under the constrain ribbon tools, you see this word dimension. And we're going to select that. Now, there are two ways to do dimensions. Two ways for linear dimensions for the distances that we need. First of all, if I select a line, and I'll click on it, and I'll drag it down, it shows me the dimension between the endpoints of the line. I click again, and by default, it lets me edit that distance. This should be 0.75. So I'll type in 0.75, and then I'll select the green check mark. Okay? Now, I could click on this line, and it would do the same type of thing. It would give me the dimension between the 2 points. But there's another way to dimension the length, and that would be to click on the lines that intersect that length. So I'm going to click on this line, and you'll notice that there's a dimension. I'm going to ignore that, and I'm going to come up here to this line and click it. And now it changes the dimension to be the distance between those two lines, which is what the length of this line is. Okay, and that's sometimes very important. So that's going to be 0.75 as well. So there I have my the front of my block, 0.75 square. The next step is to finish the sketch. I'm done with my sketch. It's dimensioned. I've drawn it, I've dimensioned it, and now I'm going to extrude it. We know how to do that. Here's extrude. I'm going to extrude back into the board. So it should give you a preview. It's coming out of the board. I want it to go back into the board, and I want the dimension to be 0.75 because all of the blocks are 0.75 cube. And there we have it. I'll rotate it around. You can see I've got my block. I'm not going to color it because I want it to come in gray into the assemblies, and I'm going to color the assemblies later. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this now. iPro, save, and I'm going to save it, and you'll notice that there it is. It's in the block directory under Inventor. That's exactly where I want it, and I'm going to save it as block. Now, it's called block. It's going to be an IPT file, because that's what I'm saving as now, IPT. This will be block IPT. You don't have to put the extension in there. Save it. And you can see it saved as block IPT. So that's our block. It's as simple as that. And now we've got that's how you make the block. And in the next tutorial, we'll show you how to make the part using the assembly file.